So the world's largest and most advanced aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, is now moving in the waters of the Caribbean, intensifying the administration's maximum pressure campaign on drug cartels. The Maduro regime in Venezuela. Lucas Tomlinson is live in Trinidad, Tobago with the latest. Lucas.
Good morning, Brian. It's the largest buildup of U.S. forces in the Caribbean since the invasion of Grenada in '83 or the invasion of Panama in 1989. At the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Levitt says President Trump continues to review military options for Venezuela, both against the drug cartels and the Maduro regime.
Now the president is very interested in taking additional measures against the drug cartels. He's been very clear about that. He's spoken about it, and this is a promise that he made to the American public. He has taken unprecedented action to do so.
Since early September, when combat operations began here in the Caribbean, over 20 suspected drug boats have been destroyed, killing over 80 people. Now this is a named Operation Southern Spear. The vanguard, as you mentioned, Brian, the USS Gerald R. Ford. She arrived this week in the Caribbean with 4 squadrons of F-18 Super Hornets aboard. Those are strike aircraft, as most of our audience already knows. Ford's 3 destroyer escorts are armed with dozens of Tomahawk cruise missiles ready to strike deep inside Venezuela. Also at sea, Marines aboard the amphibious assault ship Iwo Jima have been doing fast rope training. And here in Trinidad, Marines from warships offshore have been practicing seizing airfields like this on the island, located just 7 miles from Venezuela. And that training ends today, and those Marines will return to their ships and be placed on alert, ready to go ashore in Venezuela if ordered, Brian.
Wow, exciting stuff. Something's got to come to a head soon. It costs too much money to keep them around to not do anything. Lucas, thank you. Let's bring in Florida Congresswoman María Salazar. Congresswoman, your thoughts about where this is heading?
Oh, where this is heading is exactly what the president needs to do. And look, that's the product of socialism. 25 years ago, Venezuela was one of the most prosperous countries in the hemisphere, with the largest reserves of oil in the world. And look where they're at now because of socialist policies. So the president needs to go in. Maduro is a terrorist. He is on the list of the transnational criminal organization. He stole the elections. He was indicted in 2020 in a federal grand jury, and he's the head of one of the most important drug cartels in the world, the Sun Cartel. So it's time to take him out and bring democracy and freedom and no drugs in Venezuela.
I think the best scenario is when he talks to the president, which should be soon. The president could, and I just talked to him on radio, and you'll hear it later. Right. He's not going to tell me what he's going to say, but it's basically you should leave and go to Russia. The best thing to do is for you to leave, and while you can.
And that's correct. And we should negotiate his exit, and we should just let him go to whatever he wants to. It's just we need to negotiate when and where, but it's now. Because Maduro is a bad thug. He's a bad hombre.
Don't you think it's significant that the Colombia president, hardly a friend of ours, backs the idea of Maduro leaving power?
Of course, because they understand that Trump and that he is on the list of the bad hombres, and he needs to go because Petro in Colombia is just afraid that he's going to be next. And the message to the Colombians is that you need to do free and fair elections next November and keep the Constitution and freedom in Colombia. You know, that's it. Those are our friends, freedom-loving people.
So, Congresswoman, the question is, what kind of progress are we making, the CIA making, in letting the military know your future is not with him? Because that's what he's got. He took the guns away from the people so they could be as brave as they want, but they don't want to be suicidal. So how do you do that? What do you hear that's happening on the ground?
Well, I know, and I'm in touch and in contact with Maria Corina Machado, who is the legitimate president of Venezuela, and they are ready within 100 days after they're liberated. They know what they need to do. I mean, Venezuela had a very strong democracy before these thugs took power. That was only 25 years ago. They have the largest reserves of oil in the world. They are more than willing to negotiate and to be working with the oil companies, the American oil companies. So it's not going to be difficult. 80% of the Venezuelans voted against Maduro. Not only that, they have risen many times, general strikes for years. So the Venezuelans are ready to be liberated and not to be a hub for drugs coming into the United States.
Do you believe?
And I salute President Trump. I'm the chairman of the Western Hemisphere Subcommittee within the House Foreign Affairs Committee. I know that area very well, and they are going to be clapping Venezuela will be the most loyal friend of the United States for the next 100 years when President Trump finishes this job.
The biggest fear is Libya. They got rid of Gaddafi, but there was nobody to step in. So that's the question. How organized can you be on the transition if it happens? And we all hope it happens.
They are very organized because the armed forces have been hijacked by Maduro, and they are with Maria Corina. I just told you, 80% of the Venezuelans, including the military, voted to kick this guy out. So they don't have any friends. They're just afraid of him.
Okay, so let's talk about the vote today. I guess the timing is perfect. Zohran Mamdani comes to the White House, an avowed socialist, proud of it, and the rising socialist movement in this country. So in the House is going to be a vote on whether to condemn socialism in this country. Hakeem Jeffries weighed in.
Do you condemn socialism in the United States?
I plan on voting in a manner consistent with how I've voted in the past. Listen, I believe as Democrats that we believe in a country where you have a strong floor and no ceiling. Here's what that strong floor consists of: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the GI Bill, nutritional benefits, and the Affordable Care Act. By the way, all things brought to you by your friendly neighborhood Democratic Party.
So this is what you introduced. Is that socialism, what he just talked about? Is he still avoiding it?
Of course not. You know, they don't have the moral high ground. The conservatives, the GOP, is also a morally sound party. The problem with the Dems is that they have been infiltrated, and I understand that Hakeem Jeffries cannot recognize it, but the Democratic Party has been infiltrated by an ideology that is completely foreign to the American values, the Judeo-Christian values. And that's why we're putting this resolution on the floor today, to see just the facts. My resolution doesn't have any opinion. It's just the facts. But the problem is the future. I have the stats here. 1 in every 3 young Americans believes that the government should control industries. 1 in 4 thinks that we should abolish private property. I mean, the founding fathers of this country, the people who built this building, should be rolling in their graves. You know, the American values is not the socialist values, and that's why we want to put it on the floor and see how many Democrats vote against it. Or only if they vote against. Last time we introduced this in 23, 100 Democrats on the House of Representatives voted against it. Let's see how many are voting today. And the fact that Mamdani, who won fair and square, is in the White House. And it's laudable that President Trump is receiving him, because that's democracy.
Congresswoman, you are pumped up for that big vote. I hope it goes our direction. It'll make me feel better about the country. But I am worried they're going to get way too many votes. Go get them, Congresswoman. Have a great day.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.